So we have to perform monostable multi-evaporator using timer IC 555 as a lab. So before going to the practical, we should learn the theory behind that. So this is the circuit diagram for the monostable multi-evaporator using 555. We can observe here, instead of R1 and R2, only one resistor is used here, R2, and here, sorry, R1 and this capacitor. And in the monostable multi-evaporator, it is expected there should be one stable state and one quasi-stable state. So normally it will remain in the stable state, and when we give an external trigger, it will jump to the quasi-stable state and will remain in the quasi-stable state for a time decided by this R and C. So when we see the theory behind this one, we have calculated, we have seen the derivation of this one, that we get a pulse width T equals to 1.1 RC. This is what we have already calculated. Now we'll see the working behind this one. As you can see here, from pin 2, we are giving a low trigger. So in the stable state, the output will remain in the low state, or the output in the stable state will be low. Output will be low. Now, when we are saying without giving the trigger, it remains in this stable state, that is low, how it will behave? When the output is low, or we can say the Q is 0, our internal Q bar or the flip-flops output Q bar will be high. When Q bar is high, discharge transistor's base is connected to Q bar, so it will turn on. So discharge transistor will be on. It means the pin 7 will be shorted, or we can say it is connected to ground. Internally through the transistor it will on. So we can say if there is at all a switch is there, we can say it is shorted, or pin 7 it is connected to pin 1 ground. So thereby this capacitor will be fully discharged. There will be no voltage across this capacitor. So this is the stable state. And from that stable state, now we are giving the trigger. So this is the time we are talking about before applying the trigger. Now at certain time, we are applying a trigger voltage well below the 1/3 of VCC. The trigger voltage which should be less than 1/3 of VCC. So as good as you can say ground voltage we can connect like that one. So this is what a low trigger voltage is given. Okay. So as soon as we give the low trigger voltage, the pin 2, which is a trigger, will get a low voltage, and we know it is connected to the lower comparator. So it will turn on that comparator which is connected to the set of the flip-flop. So the output will be set, or we can say my output will be high. As soon as the output is high, our Q bar will be low. When Q bar is low, discharge transistor will be off. When discharge transistor is off, it means it will act as an open circuit. So now this capacitor will get a path to charge from this VCC value through this R1 and C1. So now the capacitor voltage is increasing. Now this is shown here, the capacitor voltage is increasing. Capacitor voltage is increasing. During that time, the output remains high. Gradually, when the capacitor voltage attains a value of 2/3 of VCC, or it will go just above the 2/3 of VCC. As we can see, this capacitor is connected to pin 6, which is a threshold pin. We know the function of the threshold pin. When the voltage at pin 6 goes above 2/3 of VCC, the upper comparator, which is connected to the reset of the flip-flop, will be on, and it will reset the flip-flop. Thereby, the output will become low. So we have seen when this capacitor voltage goes to 2/3 of VCC, the output will become low. As the output will become low, Q bar will be high, internal discharge transistor will be on, and we can see from this pin 7 there is no resistor path. So this capacitor will be discharged instantaneously. At that instant only it will discharge totally. So a very finite time it will take to discharge, but infinitesimally small it will be. So it will be discharged at that instant mainly. So now this charging and discharging, sorry, charging, it depends on the time constant tau which is coming into that path. So here it is the R1 and C1. And when we derive and we calculate the generalized formula of voltage across capacitor as final voltage initial minus final voltage e raised to power minus t by tau. And when we put a different values of final voltage, initial voltage, then we put a certain condition that at time t equals to pulse width capital T, the voltage reaches to two-thirds of VCC, we get a complete relation for this pulse width T equals to 1.1 RC. So here it is R1 and C1. So this is what theoretically we got. Now we need to check or test that practically. That will perform as a practical to get the different time pulse width by depending on the values of R1 and C1. So here we are doing an experiment on monostable multivibrator using IC 5555. So what we have done, we have used this 555 IC with VCC equals to 5 volts. So 5 volt we have generated through this adapter which gives us about 11 or 12 volt that we can measure. If you see here the voltage at this pin 1, you can observe at the multimeter gives us the value as 11 point something, 11.33, and that is regulated through 7805 which gives us approximately 5 volt. So 4.76 means 5 volt. So 5 volt we have generated. You can use a 9 volt battery also with this connector, and that 9 volt can be again converted by 7805 as a 5 volt. So with the TTL logic, that is very useful in any applications. So as you know, in the monostable multivibrator, depending on the value of R and C, this resistor between 8 and 7 and this capacitor decides the pulse width, that is capital T equals to 1.1 RC. We have used here a 6.8 kilo ohm resistor and a 100 microfarad capacitor. So let us see if I give the pulse. So what we have done, we have at the output we have connected this LED, and also with the help of this driver, means a transistor BC548 as a driver, with the relay we have given these to a lamp load. Now it is at normally close connection, that's why the lamp is glowing, whereas this is normally off, we can say, so the LED is not glowing. When I give the trigger, this will alternate. I am giving the trigger. As soon as I give the trigger, the output becomes high. It actuates the relay, and thereby this is closed. Now let us say again I am giving the trigger. As soon as I give the trigger, it remains on for the T equals to 1.1 RC value, and it comes out to the stable state. So for a momentarily, when I give a pulse, it goes to a quasi-stable state with time width or pulse width equal to 1.1 RC. So you need to calculate the value theoretically, what will be the value. As you can observe practically, if I give this pulse, it remains on for that time equals to 1.1 into 6.8K into 100 microfarad. If I want to increase the timing, I may change this capacitor or I may change the resistance. Let us see if I increase this 100 microfarad to, let's say, 470 microfarad, what changes, whether the time will increase or not. So this we can observe. Now I have connected 470 microfarad and I have given the pulse. Now observe, the pulse is traced to a longer width, we can say. It remains on for a more time. So you need to calculate that value. And now I am giving the trigger pulse. As soon as I give the low trigger pulse, this LED remains on for the time period, time width T equals to 1.1 RC. Now you can see the time pulse width has been increased, because instead of 100 microfarad, now I am using 470 microfarad. So as the relay is connected to the normally closed, once I give the trigger, it becomes off. Now it is coming to the stable state. So
for a pulse width of t equals to 1.1 RC, it remains in the quasi-stable state, or we can say that pulse width is generated.